Joe Rogan is a dangerous racist, disinformation peddler. He wasn't any of those things a week ago, but now the left has decided he is all of those things because he has positioned himself, not even with the conservatives, just sort of against the left-wing narrative. Joe Rogan is a liberal. He's a full-on liberal. He's not a conservative. But he's contradicting some of the leftist narratives, and so now Joe Rogan's got to go, according to them. So the mob makes up its own narratives, facts be damned. First, they tried to get him on COVID disinfo. The problem is that Joe Rogan has been more correct about COVID than Dr. Fauci, Joe Biden, and Rochelle Walensky combined. So they couldn't really get him on that. So what did they do? They dug up some old clips of his show in which he was quoting people using the N-word, and they called him a racist. They tried to, this is always what they do. They insinuated that he was a racist. And unfortunately, Joe has sort of kind of apologized.
Hello, friends. I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks fucking horrible, even to me. Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. Like that context was part of the clip we were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then.
So he's explaining why he did it. The explanation's perfectly fine, but then he's apologizing too, and he's trying to split this baby, and he's trying to see if he can put this cancel mob back into Pandora's box. I don't think it's working. And I think Joe Rogan's got to be very careful here, because this is going to have huge effects, not just for his show, but actually the Joe Rogan podcast, the way he behaves now, is going to have huge effects for free speech in America. Joe Rogan is apologizing for using the N-word. The word, he didn't say it's confusing because it's the only word you're not allowed to say, but he didn't say the N-word. He said the word, the N-word. Okay. When he was he didn't say it in anger. He didn't say you. He was just quoting other people or discussing the context of it. And he did this many times over the years, and no one ever had any problem with it until the liberal establishment wanted to go after Joe Rogan for having the audacity to question the exalted Dr. Fauci, who has been completely wrong about almost everything with the coronavirus. And so because Joe Rogan now demonstrably has a better record on COVID than the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, because of that, now they're digging up old clips out of context and trying to insinuate that Joe Rogan hates black people or something like that. And the problem is, Joe is sort of apologizing. As a general rule, apologizing for out-of-context remarks to people who have not been offended by them and who do not care is neither helpful nor good. It's not even the right thing to do. But beyond whether it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, it also won't help you. I don't think it's going to help. People think it will help them, but it'll actually hurt them. I understand. I have been the target of a couple of cancel mobs in my life, one of which was pretty serious, could have taken down my career. And there were so many incentives to just to apologize. Yes, it was out of context. Yes, no one was really offended. Yes, they're just using this as a way to attack you. Yes, it's not whatever, but just apologize and it'll all go away. It won't go away. It won't. It's not going to go back to normal. You're not going to be allowed to just apologize, and because there's not real repentance and real grace here. It's a completely contrived situation. And the minute that you show them a little bit of your neck, they're going to hack your head off. Okay, that's what this is about. I would call this the Hank Schrader Rule. And I think Joe Rogan would do very well to heed the Hank Schrader Rule. The Hank Schrader Rule comes from Breaking Bad. It's the scene where Walt's brother-in-law, Hank, the cop, is killed. And the rule is this: do not apologize to the mob. Do not grovel to the mob because the mob made up its mind 10 minutes ago.
Hank, listen to me. You gotta tell him. You gotta tell him now that we can work this out. Please. Please.
What? You want me to beg? You're the smartest guy I ever met. And you're too stupid to see. He made up his mind 10 minutes ago. Do what you're gonna do.
That's what happens. And Hank was right and Walt was wrong. Walt's saying, no, just apologize. Just say this will go away. And then we can all go back to normal. You can't go back to normal. When the cancel mob asks for your apology, they're not trying to figure out what to do with you. They've already made up their mind. They're going to kill you. They're going to kill your career, all right? I hope they don't kill you literally, but they're certainly going to kill your career. They've already made up their mind. So the question is, what are you going to do now? And that's the question for Joe Rogan to make. And unfortunately, I think Spotify is pushing him in the direction of censorship. There's a report out now that as of Saturday, 113 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast have been taken down. Rogan reportedly made the decision himself, but this decision was made after conversations that he had with Spotify. It's very easy to judge Joe Rogan for taking down his episodes right now. You say, no, you're giving into censorship. You're giving into cancel culture. Joe Rogan has a $100 million contract with Spotify. $100 million contract. And the thing about temptation is that it's tempting. That's what makes it tough. And all of us who have given in to many less enticing temptations than $100 million, all of us who see an extra drink at the end of the night and we can't say no, or you see a cute chick at the end of the bar, you can't say no, or you see the extra plate of turkey on Thanksgiving, you can't say no. We're judging Joe Rogan for saying, I'd kind of like to keep the $100 million, thanks. No, the tough thing about temptation is that it is tempting. The question is, though, what does Joe Rogan want? What does he want to have happen now? It seems to me the mob already made up its mind. Spotify, though they're not firing Joe Rogan outright, they are appeasing the mob, and they're placing disclaimers on his episodes with conservatives on the issue of COVID. They're taking down over 100 episodes, apparently, of his show, all the saucy, interesting episodes. They're just taking those down. They're saying that he needs to have way more Democrats on. They're neutering the show. They are neutering the show. They've already done it. They've already taken down the saucy, spicy stuff that the libs don't like. So then the question for Rogan is, what kind of show does he want? I don't know. I can't answer that for him. I don't know. Joe Rogan is a comedian. He was a sitcom actor, a stand-up comedian who became probably the most trusted broadcaster in America. I imagine he didn't expect that. But what kind of show does he want? The establishment is ordering things such that he can be an insanely rich man who will work for a very long time doing a completely innocuous show that doesn't rock the boat. Or he can be content just having a lot of money, but not an insane, but just a lot of money and doing the show that he wants to do. What do you want to do? I don't know. I hope that at a certain point of wealth, you say, screw it, I don't care, whatever. This is kind of what Chappelle did. Dave Chappelle did this at Comedy Central. He was offered a crazy contract. I think it was $50 million, but it was to do a show he didn't want to do. He said, stuff it. I've got enough money. I'm going to go do my own thing. What's he going to do? It's going to matter because if they can do this to Rogan, there is no reason that they should keep any of the rest of our shows up on Spotify. Ben, me, Matt Walsh, Candace. Oh my gosh, Candace. Certainly any of the Daily Wire. Why? Why are you going to keep us up? I like to think that the reason they'll keep us up is because they don't want to just shut out half of the country. for saying perfectly ordinary, commonplace things. But if they're even going to go after Rogan, who is a liberal, why wouldn't they go after us too? A lot is riding on this decision, Mr. Rogan. I don't know Joe Rogan personally. We follow each other on Twitter, but a lot is riding on this, man. I know it's tough, but stand firm. Come on, push back, please. You got to ring the bell. Subscribe, that way you'll get notifications. If for whatever reason you do not get notifications for our videos, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Type in The Michael Knowles Show, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next time.